from our 7 Tasmania studios. Your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. First tonight, a vital service assisting people experiencing homelessness in Launceston was nowhere to be seen on Sunday night, unable to find volunteers. The St Vincent de Paul Society is pleading for more northern helpers as crisis calls skyrocket.
A key service locked out of helping Launceston's most vulnerable. The Vinnie's van and the friendly faces staffing it provide much needed food and company to those in need. But for the past 2 nights, it hasn't had enough volunteers to get out and about.
We're delighted to say that this is the first time that's ever happened, but we need to consider the safety of our volunteers.
Vinnie's needs 3 people to man the van, but could only find 2. Those crucial helpers are a dwindling resource, and charities and community organisations are sending out an urgent call for new volunteers to come forward and lend a hand.
You can come and try it as a once-off, or you can become a regular part of our roster. We really need that support.
Launceston's Benevolent Society is also feeling the people pinch. For the first time, it's having to advertise its volunteering positions.
I mean, I suppose you call it competition, but there is, I think, that there's more demand out there than there is supply for volunteers at the moment.
The organisation is struggling to keep up with an increasing number of calls for help, which it's expecting will only grow as cost of living pressures continue to bite.
And we think the next year, particularly with rental and housing stress, we're going to see a big demand there.
Worried they won't be able to help. The state government has a youth volunteer army initiative launched last year to help build the workforce. But Labor says the cost of living crisis shouldn't be left solely on the shoulders of Tasmania's community groups and charities.
The government has to step in and help because we can't rely on the community to step up in areas where they might have been able to do that before.
More resources are on the way for neighbourhood houses though, the state government providing funding for community gardens, hoping to solve a growing problem. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
Police have charged 2 more men with murder in relation to an alleged shooting incident at Granton last week. A 44-year-old from Moona, a 21-year-old from Collinsvale have been charged with the murder of Nicholas Scott, who led police across town after escaping custody at the Royal Hobart Hospital. The pair faced the Hobart Magistrates Court today and were remanded in custody. Motorists are being urged to slow down and obey roadworks speed zones after police charged 2 drivers. One was allegedly travelling at 88 kilometres an hour in a 40k zone while road workers were present and working. They received a fine of more than $1,000 and lost their licence for 5 months. Police say the other was detected doing 96 in a 60 zone near Oatlands. Tasmania Police has charged one of its own former constables with a raft of offences. For more, we're joined by Annie Green. Annie, it's been an extensive investigation.
It has, Kim. As a result of that investigation by professional standards, she's now been charged with perverting justice, unauthorised access to a computer, possession of a controlled drug and fraud. The 43-year-old woman from the state south was a Tasmania Police officer until she was terminated in August last year. Police are alleging the offences were committed in the south between June 2021 and April last year while the woman was employed as a constable. They're not alleging she was on duty at the time of the offending. She's due to face court on March 10. Kim?
Commuters are being called on to make using the car less their New Year's resolution. The RACT is saying our roads are bursting at the seams due to congestion. With a population boom expected over the next decade, the state government is also facing pressure to make Tasmania's bike, scooter and walking network more connected.
For many, a bike is an exercise tool, but for Alison Hetherington, these 2 wheels are her primary mode of transport.
I ride to work, I ride home from work, I ride to the shops, I ride to see my friends. For short distances, riding a bike makes sense.
The RACT wants more Tasmanians adopting that attitude.
4 to 5% more people travelling on public transport or using a bike or walking, that would be a significant decrease in congestion.
The insurer concerned about a ticking time bomb. Tasmania's population is set to jump to around 650,000 people in just a decade, putting more pressure on our roads.
Otherwise we'll be inadequately resourced in 10 years' time when that population prediction comes bears fruit.
Some are already putting on the brakes. Figures from e-scooter company Beam show around half of Tasmanians who've ditched their cars are doing it for work purposes.
If you live further out, it's one way to, avoid taking your car into the more congested CBD.
Experts say transport infrastructure is still lacking. The RACT's budget submission calling for more interconnected public transport, along with rapid bus lanes on an expanded southern outlet.
She should be joining some of these things up. It's certainly a key part of the RACT's 30-year vision.
We need all of those paths to be connected to have a genuine network, just like we have a road network.
In a statement, Infrastructure Minister Michael Ferguson says the government has invested to reduce congestion, with $200 million being spent on the Greater Hobart Traffic Solution, while $6 million is being made available over 4 years to link cycling routes. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Former Premier Peter Gutwin has another new gig. He'll sit on the board of directors for renewables company Countrywide Hydrogen. Mr Gutwin has an interest in clean energy. During his time in the top job, he also served as Minister for Climate Change. The company is behind 2 solar to hydrogen proposals in the state. Tasmania's gin industry is preparing to put on a show at this year's Ginuary Festival. 38 distilleries will pour out more than 100 different varieties in Hobart this weekend. Waverley Distillery will offer 3 different flavours, with its rhubarb variety, the Assyrian, named after the 1882 Melbourne Cup winner.
The paddock that the Assyrian is buried is the same paddock that we grow our rhubarb, and so we thought we'd call our rhubarb gin after the horse that shares its same paddock.
Some of the businesses that we'll be having down are really, really brand new, and this is a really great way to bring the gin enthusiasts to them.
Tickets are available through the Ginuary website. It's been a tough grind, but 2 local artists have now transformed the Rosny skate park, replacing graffiti with a new mural and giving the area a splash of colour. It's the first time the artists have put their mark on a space like this.
So I've worked a lot with cartoons, and lately I've been messing around with abstract, and I wanted to mix these 2 styles.
The walls all had different shapes, so I just thought about how can different things fill those spaces.
The artists also incorporated cartoon characters into the facelift. Clarence City Council has recently repaired and resealed the skate park. And American Lauren Davis took a break from the practice court at the Hobart International, jumping into the Echidna pit at Bonnarong. After knocking off 4th seed Sloane Stephens yesterday, the world number 84 getting up close to the spiky creatures, also giving them a feed. She said getting out and about was a perfect way to clear the head mid-tournament.
You can get pretty stuffy being at the courts all day, so it's nice to kind of get a little bit of a balance and get out and see which city you're in and get a taste of everything.
Davis doesn't have too much downtime though, with her next match set for tomorrow. Nicole Kidman and Heath Urban have taken a slight detour from their visit to Sydney. The Hollywood actress and country music star have been holidaying here in Tasmania. Nicole posted a series of photos to her Instagram from Cradle Mountain National Park. She also shared this video of an unexpected roommate.
You're not rubbish. No. Look at you. You're not rubbish.
The video caught the attention of Reese Witherspoon, who commented, "What is that?" And as any Tasmanian would know, it's a brush-tail possum. And there'll be some celebrity razzle-dazzle at this year's Festivale. Celebrity chef Gary Megan will be the guest at Festivale 2023. Organisers say ticket sales are progressing well, with 85% sold.
The shocks have continued at the Hobart International, with the number 3 seed the latest casualty. 2016 winner Elise Cornet showed her frustrations on court as she bowed out to Italian Elisabetta Cocciaretto. The world number 64 too strong on the first serve, eventually winning 6-4, 6-2.
Magnificent performance. A 7th win over a top 50 player.
No such issues for 2019 champion Sophia Kenin. She took less than 80 minutes to defeat China's Lin Zhu, cruising to a 6-2, 6-2 victory. It nearly turned ugly, but the Hurricanes just held on against the Melbourne Stars in Hobart last night. A middle-order collapse saw the Hurricanes limp across the line with 2 wickets in hand. They lost 5 for just 14 runs before a lucky chop averted complete crisis.
Last night's viewing was easy enough at the start as Launceston Pictures presented The Fault in Our Stars. The umpire went upstairs, but the popcorn was warm for Purple fans. There was no doubt about the mix-up. The Hurricanes bowlers then set about stifling the Stars.
Trouble with a capital T.
Tom Rogers out for 2. Another former Cane, Bo Webster, had trouble as well. And by the time this happened, a home run seemed a shoo-in, especially with our opener in the form of his life.
Caleb Jewell, that's big.
Jewell's contribution, 70, nearly 3 times what the next 7 batters to the crease would provide.
Gone! All hello.
6 for 123, 7 for 123.
It might be likely now.
8 for 129. Thankfully, Nathan Ellis had the captain's knock.
Boundary to win. He nearly plays on, but he gets the boundary.
An ugly win, but a win nonetheless.
In T20 cricket, things can be quite unpredictable, as it was tonight.
The Canes have won all 4 games in Tasmania, but lost all 5 on the road. They can square the record up against the Thunder in Hobart on Sunday.
And after travelling as a reserve in the last Women's T20 World Cup, Tasmanian Tigers all-rounder Heather Graham has earned a senior call-up for next month's tournament in South Africa. Graham has been in sensational form of late, putting her name up in lights when she took a hat-trick against India 3 weeks ago. She says it's surreal to pull on the green and gold.
Anytime I be able to go out there, I'm always pretty nervous. I'm not normally a nervous character, but yeah, when you represent your country, it's something a bit different.
Her Tigers teammates Nicole has been dropped for the tournament. Australia's first match is against New Zealand. To basketball, the Jack Jumpers will soon take on the battling Illawarra Hawks, who have lost yet another star import in Michael Fraser to injury. The Jack Jumpers are hot favourites to claim the win on the road tonight. The Hawks have lost their last 8 games in a row and now have 4 import players out of action. The Jackies are coming off a loss to Melbourne United at home. Tip-off in Wollongong is in half an hour's time. Local lawn bowls hero Beck Van Ash has had a dominant start to her Open Women's Triples campaign at Launceston's Gala Week. The dual Commonwealth Games champion led her team to top of the ladder after today's sectionals play. Hosting duties for the championship are being shared between Trevellyn, Longford, Kingsmeadows and North Launceston.
All their greens are magnificent, and today and tomorrow the finals are at Trevellyn. The greens are running really well and there's been a really high standard of play.
There's a lot at stake in the men's and women's triples. The winners will represent Tasmania at the National Championships in October.
Good evening. Fine and partly cloudy around the state today. Hobart 20, Launceston 26, Devonport 22 and Burnie recorded 21 degrees. Bushy Park another warm day, 25 there. Strawn Grove and the Bass Strait Islands all 23. Lowhead and Friendly Beaches 21. Lyre-Weenie 20. St Helens a coolish 19 degrees. Mostly clear skies over the south today and just partly cloudy for the rest of the state. That patchy low cloud lingers over central Australia. Isolated storms prevail over northern Queensland and southwest WA. Tomorrow a high to our east projects ridges along the South Australian coast and also up the east coast. A couple of weak troughs also on the map. East nor'easterlies tomorrow at 10 to 20 knots, more variable over the west and south, 2.5 metre swells. Here's the forecast for tomorrow, sunny and 25 in Hobart, 28 the top for Geeveston, a nice day, and cloud clearing from Bothwell, 28 degrees the maximum. Launceston a high of 27 and partly cloudy, Devonport 22 for the Cup and 27 for Cressy, partly cloudy weather. That continues over Burnie and 19 degrees there, 24 for Strawn, cloudy for Curry and 21. St Helens tomorrow a high of 21 degrees, 23 the top for Swansea, Orford sunny and 22. UV continues to be extreme at 12. On to the next couple of days, and we see on Thursday that it's going to be fine and partly cloudy again right across the state. Launceston shooting for 29, Hobart 23. On to Friday, once again, fine and partly cloudy, a bit warmer for most centres. And into Saturday, mainly fine, but the chance of a late shower over the western part of the state. 27 in Perth tomorrow, a sunny 32 in Adelaide and Melbourne, a top of 30 in Canberra, and a sunny 31 in Brisbane. 19 at the moment in Hobart and partly cloudy. Launceston sunny and 22, partly cloudy in Devonport and 19 degrees. And that's the way the weather is this Devonport Cup Eve.
Who are you calling Eve, Murph? I'm Kim Miller. That's all we have time for tonight. Good night.